As convenient as it might be, you cannot fix a bad diet with probiotics, but you can completely reverse your microbiota within 4 days, recent studies have shown. And this is such a huge area of research right now. I'm gonna try not to bog you down with too many of the details and just focus on the big picture. So I'm gonna be going over why it's so important to have good gut health, the symptoms that you might experience if you are suffering from leaky gut or microbiota dysbiosis, which is just a fancy way of saying that your good bug to bad bug gut ratio is out of whack. I'm going to talk about a couple tests that you can take or you can ask your doctor about if you're interested in knowing for sure what's going on in your microbiota, and then some steps to fix a poor gut. Lastly, some fiber-rich foods that will help you out in rebalancing that. So if you enjoy videos on plant-based nutrition or just nutrition information in general, make sure you subscribe. I try to come out with videos every Monday and Thursday at the moment. I'm Carly, for those of you who have not seen my videos. I'm a plant-based nutritionist, and I try to get as much helpful information out there as possible. There's so much misinformation in the nutrition realm, and I just think the more voices we can put out there, the better when it comes to, accurate information. So if you do happen to hear anything on these videos and you know for sure that you have read some research that holds contrary, please feel free to message me and let me know. I love staying up to date on the current literature. So with that said, let's talk about why it's so important to have a healthy gut. I suffered from, I still obviously suffer from celiac disease. It's an autoimmune issue where they presume it's initiated by a leaky gut. So basically what happens is when you eat foods that attract harmful bacteria into your intestine, your body sends off these signals that there's some kind of foreign invader because the pH starts to get too low because there's not enough fatty acid chains being made. So ultimately, there's this cascade of inflammation which creates a less permeable membrane in your intestine, and then certain proteins that you ingest slip through those cracks, ultimately get into your bloodstream and cause more problems and initiate autoimmune issues. So that's where they presume celiac stems from in the first place. So I had to do a ton of research for this video and for myself in general, trying to figure out how the heck to fix this leaky gut situation. So why it's so important, obviously you want to maintain that permeability, but it's also your gut bugs help to influence things like your mood, your food cravings, your ease at which you gain weight. It can also promote things like cancer, obesity, insulin resistance. So it's definitely in your best interest to be good to your healthy bacteria in your gut. It's a very symbiotic relationship. You take care of them, they take care of you. So some symptoms that you can experience if you are having these issues are things like just general inflammatory problems, like swollen or inflamed joints, like arthritis, or sometimes fatigue or brain fog, trouble concentrating, confusion. You can also have things like loose stools and food sensitivities. That's a big red flag for microbiota dysbiosis. There's a couple tests that you can ask your doctor about. I am not a doctor. Make sure you talk to them before implementing anything you come across in these videos. So the first one is the intestinal permeability test. And this is basically where you just drink a solution of 2 different types of simple carbohydrates, and what they're looking for is whether or not the lactulose comes through in your urine. So it's just a urinary analysis. And if too much lactulose, I think it's about 1.5%, comes through on this test, then you would be considered to have a leaky gut. It's indigestible for humans, so it's supposed to come out in your stool as opposed to going through your system and getting processed through your kidneys. The second test is a zonulin test. This one's a bit newer. So zonulin is a protein that's made naturally by your body, and what it does is loosen those tight junctions between your cells. And ultimately, the more zonulin you have, the more permeability you have at those junctions. So the more proteins will ultimately sneak through. So the higher zonulin, the more leaky gut you have. Some steps to fix this problem. Ultimately, you need to stop injuring it. You need to feed it health promoting foods as opposed to harmful foods, such as antibiotics. It's not a food, but you get the gist. Try to limit these to very, very necessary situations. Try not to take every prescription your doctor gives you, because they are taught that you go into the office and you are expecting some kind of solution, and if you don't get that solution, it's just a very unfortunate system that we have at the moment. But just because your doctor offers them to you does not mean you have to take them. Sugar is a big one. That will promote dysbiosis. That attracts a lot of the harmful bacteria. Alcohol will destroy your healthy gut bugs. Animal protein is a big one. Particularly dairy has been shown to be the most allergenic food on the planet. Actually, like 70% of people can't even digest dairy, but that's a whole nother story I'll save for another video. Another allergenic food is gluten, which is my personal favorite. That's the one that you have to completely remove from your diet if you are diagnosed with celiac disease or gluten sensitivity or a wheat allergy. The second step, after you remove all the injurious substances, is to start replenishing that microbiome with the health promoting foods, the good bacteria promoting foods. Things like whole grains, legumes, fruits and veggies. A whole food plant-based diet is the most beneficial when it comes to growing this healthy microbiota. If you are having serious health issues with your gut and you know you have leaky gut syndrome, there are 2 over-the-counter supplements that you can take for improving that barrier function in your intestine. Those are quercetin and glutamine. Again, speak with your physician before you go about taking any of these. And the last option is, of course, probiotics. But you want to make sure you get a variety of bacteria in these supplements. You want to make sure there's a very long list of different gut bugs that are coming in through that probiotic. They also need to be fresh. They can't be expired or near expiration. You want the ones that are as fresh as possible. Probiotics are very expensive. I took them for many years thinking that that was how to heal my gut. Come to find out, all I had to do was eat the right foods and promote those healthy gut bugs with as much prebiotics as possible. Prebiotics are just the foods that you eat that promote the healthy gut bugs. It's what the bacteria eat. Probiotics are the bacteria themselves, the healthy bacteria. So some fiber-rich prebiotics, like I mentioned, are whole grains, beans, peas, and lentils. So all legumes have that nice resistant starch that your bacteria will feed on. Fruits and veggies, but you must be sure to get a variety of these. Try not to just stick with one legume or one fruit, or get too obsessed with things like broccoli, because the more different variations you can get from your prebiotics, the more diverse your flora will be. And more diverse flora have been shown to reduce things like high triglycerides and cholesterol and insulin resistance. Also other inflammatory markers and excess weight. So you want to try to increase that diversity as much as possible. So I hope this video was helpful. I know it's kind of jam-packed with a lot of information. The microbiome is such a huge topic. I'm sure I will be doing a series of these videos. So stay tuned for those.